Gold. We are trying something a little bit different today, and I'm trying to see if it will actually land where I need it to so that we can do it. But if you are new, my name is Zakia Ringgold. I make my own handcrafted natural soap, and I also teach people how to do the same. And I have this camera up here, my phone, and I'm trying to see if it will actually land where I need it to so that we can go live over there. But it's looking like it's telling me an encoder setup error, which is a problem. But the show must go on. So if that changes, we shall see. But if it doesn't change, we'll just go with this. But if you are new, welcome. If you have been here before, as always, welcome back. What we are doing is the herbal tea. When I did the Instagram story on how I was making the herbal salves, a lot of people were asking me, well, where did you get this or where did you get that? And I happen to also be an Amazon influencer. So I was trying to stream over there so you all could shop for the things that you were asking me about in my DMs, like where did you get that? How much did it cost and all of that? I figure might as well do a live stream on it so that you could see it. But as I have been indicating on some other streams, I have really gotten into herbalism throughout the pandemic in terms of herbal teas, herbal blends, things that I could change in my lotions and my body butters. So it wasn't just a simple, hi Shelba, how are you? Let me see where your comments are going to come up. Let's put you guys right on the herbal shelf. So you are right there with me. And so I wanted to kind of share some of that with you. Now, typically, what I would do with my herbal tea is I would get the various herbs that I wanted. So for this particular one, we are doing lemongrass, rosehip, grapefruit peel, powdered lemon juice, and then we're also doing some hibiscus flowers. Now, good morning, Tammy. How are you? So what I would typically do, and I got this tea set from Chinatown, so it's a little bit different, but this actually is the strainer. So you put all of your loose leaf tea inside of this strainer. And then what you do is you end up just putting your hot water, you pour that right over the top, and then you let it brew for about 10 minutes. And then you take this out, and then you have your herbal tea. Now, I saw something fancy and I figured, do it for the live. I ain't gonna do it. Do it for the live. I ain't gonna do it, but I'm gonna do it for the live. I saw this glass teapot. Now, what ended up getting my interest, good morning, Joseph. I know you are patiently or not so patiently waiting for when is the store going to open. I said, when is the store going to open? I need a couple more days because I'm missing some packaging and some product pictures. But I typically start my weekends with herbal tea. So I saw this teapot on Amazon. Everything I get comes from Amazon. Surprise, surprise. The UPS guy actually said, what in the world could you possibly be ordering? I said, mind your business. So this is brand new. This is a tea bloom. It's a celebration teapot, and it's supposed to be stovetop safe. Now, because we are in, you have those. So tell me that this is not going to go bad really, really quickly, because I'm actually going to be putting it on this hot plate to see if the water will boil. Now, when I went to China, there was a beautiful lady who had a complete tea shop, all kinds of herbs, and she had blooming flower tea. And what that was, and I'll find the video from when we were in China, the flower actually blooms in the teapot. So you get all of the herbal properties of the flower, but you also enjoy a nice calming tea. So with this, I ordered it, and you guys are getting to see the unboxing. And then we're going to talk about this 5-ingredient herbal tea. So what I'll do is I'll take all of the pieces out. I hate these. These create such a mess in the house, but I get it. You don't want your stuff to come up broken. And so that is how you do that. So this is the strainer. Now I can tell that I don't necessarily like the strainer because It's very small slots at the bottom, but not throughout. So I have I have a sneaking suspicion that I'm not going to like the blend of it. Hello, Laverne. Put it on heat. I usually boil water in a tea kettle and pour hot water into the strainer. Haha. You can put it on heat though. That's good to know. All right. So we're going to make the herbal tea, but then we're also going to do one of the balms that you guys watched me do. So there is a difference between a balm and a salve, and I'll go over that. Um, Let me stay on track here. But this does come with 2 tea flowers. So it gives you 6 steeps, which means 40 cups. I don't know how you could steep it that many times, but look at me. I don't believe anything. Hello, Annie. How are you? Let's see. Did it make it over to Amazon? Nope, it's not going to make it to Amazon today. No problem. I'll do it again. So this is premium quality glass, and it says heat resistant. We're going to test it live. Hopefully, we'll see. Hey, Erica. All right. I do have a I hate when it's that on there because sometimes the sticky stuff gets on the back. I do have an electric kettle that we could use, but I want to try it. Oh, I didn't rinse. I got to rinse it out first of all. But this is the glass tea kettle, and the idea is that you put your herbs that you want to use right into there, and then as it's steaming or boiling, shall we say, you have your lid on the top, and then you get yourself a nice herbal tea. Now, here's the thick of it. We don't have running water in this new studio. So, that could be a problem. So we're going to do it for the show, but I don't think I'm going to actually get a chance to drink it because you do want to wash, like properly wash the items that you are using, especially because they put it in the manufacturer. Most of this is like blown, like, so I don't want whatever you blew into my glass to be in my herbal tea. Love to you and your new and gorgeous soap and tea sanctuary. Yeah, it's a little bit of both. And then it's virtual event planning upstairs. So let's talk about, I just want you guys to see the herbal blending here. So let's turn one of our burners on over here. See, I was almost prepared because I had the spring water ready. I'm going to put that right on the heat. It says we're supposed to be able to do that. Is it going to work? I don't know. Well, you probably don't want to boil it dry. So let's go ahead and get some water in there. And so the first one that we're going to do is I want you all to see the blooming tea example. And the way that works, I might need a little more water. So it looks like this would take 2 16-ounce bottles of water. So the way that works is it would, once it starts to boil, you then put your flour up. Oh, we've got a guest. Here comes, see, I needed you a minute ago. I needed you a moment ago, Paige, to rinse that out. I'm
so angry at you.
Why? I went live without you? Mm-hmm. My bad, kiddo. Say hello to everyone.
Hi.
And so here is what's in here. What's in your wallet? I know a lot of you are saying, how in the world did Paige get so big? I've been wondering the same thing. I don't know who this kid is.
Take a guess in the comment how old I am now. And don't tell them.
I won't tell them. It says, thank you for your purchase. Blooming tea. Heat fresh, preferably filtered. So we at least got that part right. Water to a boil. Avoid boiling too long as this depletes oxygen needed for best flavor. Didn't know that. Place 1 tea flower in a durable glass teapot or mug. Oh, darn it. I don't have what we need. You guys aren't going to be able to see it. We're supposed to boil the water first and then pour it into the glass so that you all would be able to see it. Those glasses are coming probably on Tuesday. So we'll do that then. Paige, can you bring me my kettle from up there? Yeah, the one. Okay. But please don't do a lot of jumping because everybody can hear it. It's like bang, 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 bang. Please stop. And you're running across the top. Jesus. And so we won't be able to do the blooming tea, but we will be able to go ahead and make the herbal tea.
And I'm boiling.
No, I gotta plug it in. Where's the bottom?
You didn't tell me what.
I need the whole thing, kiddo. The whole thing.
You said get me.
So this was upstairs in my my office area. LOL. Good morning, Yasmin. How are you? Good to see you. Don't run, Paige. Don't run. So we're gonna fill this up with hot water, or with water, so that it can boil. You got the base? Thank you so much, kiddo.
And also next time be more specific about it.
You mean specific, not Pacific. You said Pacific.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to use this one. This is the one that I have upstairs. Hello and good morning, everyone from Mexico. Who is that? Mauricio. Oh, good to see you. Ooh, I like that. Is that soap? Love. Thank you. It was a long process. Long, but it was so worth it. All right, so we now have this one here. So this is my kettle. And I typically will use this upstairs. It boils the water pretty quickly. And so what I'll do is the opposite of what we were starting to do. I'm going to pour this water in here because this is what we use for making the salve. And we need that water to boil anyway. All right. So typically, what I was describing to you a little bit earlier, and I'm going to turn this off because I will put my hand on a hot plate like, oh, and by the way, excited to see what you're doing today. Hi, Lanicia. And so what we would typically do is have this, feels like something's, is it doing? Paige, where'd the thing go? It's going to be a blooper reel today. I'm like, why isn't, oh, you might want to turn it on, dear heart. All right, so what this will do is it will heat the water up. Lanicia, what we're doing is we are making an herbal tea. I was trying to show you all this glass teapot that we got, but, you know, it's been a while. I haven't prepared. I didn't wash it out. I didn't do any of that stuff. So we'll do that on another stream. But I wanted to show you just a simple recipe that you can use. This recipe in particular is packed with herbs that are full of vitamin C, great for the skin, and also building your immunity up. So what we're using is some lemongrass, some rose hips, hibiscus, grapefruit peel, and then some powdered lemon. Now, all of these combined, you don't want to do equal parts because the rose hip is pretty sour. The hibiscus gives your, I was about to say your soup, your tea a really pretty red color. And then the lemongrass is just great if you are doing any kind of anxiety issues. It just is really good for calming you down there. And then you have the grapefruit and the lemon peel. I will be having these in the shop as well. They're going to come in these little mason jar containers. So there's a 3-ounce size, and then there's also going to be the larger size so that you can have your own loose leaf tea. Hi, Emily. How are you? Good to see you. So what we're going to do is we're going to just go ahead and grab what we want. So I'm going to do it the old-fashioned way in terms of putting the herbs right inside of here. I wonder, is this the same size? Because then you could at least see it. No. Nope, too small. That one's too small. Okay, so we'll leave it that way. And so first we're going to go with the lemongrass. I do a healthy heaping of the lemongrass. So 2 spoons maybe 3. Nobody's watching, nobody's counting. And then we do just a little bit of the rose hip. So we just put that in just like that. And that's so that we don't need any sugar or any artificial sweetener. The rose hip is going to give it a great, great flavor. The hibiscus has some amazing qualities as well, but I primarily use it for the beautiful color that it gives the tea. So I'm going to grab some of this hibiscus here, and this is dried hibiscus. Not enough. Come on out of there. And as you can see, this water is already boiling, so it's ready to go. And I'm taking my sweet old time here. Alrighty. And now we're going to go for the grapefruit peel. Now, if you've ever eaten a grapefruit and accidentally got some of the skin or the rind, it's pretty strong. So you want to not be too heavy-handed with it, but you do. Actually, the peel of the grapefruit has more nutrients and minerals than the actual fruit. And because this is dried and we've got ourselves a boil, so you don't, I'm saying all that to say you do not need a whole lot of the dried grapefruit there. So I just sprinkle it on the top. And then my super secret weapon that I'm sharing with all of you is the lemon peel. I don't know if you all know, but lemon is great for any blemishes that you have on the skin. And I'm going to just put it, but no, that's going to be a lot. Again, you do not need a whole lot. So I'm going to take a look and see what we have. And as you can see, or you can't, it's going right to about there with the herbs. If you wanted a really potent and packed herbal blend, you could fill it up to the top. So then what we do is we just take our water, which is going in clear, and we pour it in. Okay, so once you have it poured, you do want to make sure that you put your lid on there so all of the essence of those herbs is able to stay right there in there. Did I miss anything? I did not. Yes. Okay, so we now have that. We're going to let that steep. I'm going to get these herbs out of the way, and we're going to talk about these herbal salves and the balms. So let's put them back. Because we're going to need this space, and we're going to let this steep for about 10 minutes. 10 minutes is plenty of time to get it. And now this is one of the distinctions in herbs. You can do an infusion, which is where you just have the water infusing through the herbs and getting into your tea. And then you also have a decoction. A decoction is what you would use for like your roots and your berries, barks for your herbs. So if you can think, what do we have over there? Which one would we do that with in particular? The rhodolia root, the ashwagandha root, the burdock root, because that's going to be a little bit more difficult. So a decoction is when you are boiling the herbs in the water, whereas this, we have the water infusing in there. Renee, good to see you. The studio is beautiful. I am learning tea blending for birth and postpartum clients. Tea is wonderful. Yes, absolutely. Abso-positively true. Let me see. The only thing is when I love how big your picture came up right over there on the herbs. All right, so that's what we have going. I can actually unplug this one and turn this pot on. And we're going to turn this all the way up because what we like to do is a double boil for all of the oils and the butters that we're going to put into an herbal salve. Now, the only difference between a salve and a balm is typically a little bit thicker. And that's because you want it to stay on your skin a little bit longer, whereas a salve is a little thinner. However, the purpose of that is for it to go into the skin and not necessarily stay right there on the top. And then you have lotions. Everybody has used a lotion, hopefully. And then you have body oils and you have body butters. The main thing to know about all of them especially with the lotion, because you're introducing water into it. You have to use a preservative because anything that has water in it has the potential to get bacteria, microbes, and all of that. With this particular salve that we are about to make, there is no water added, so we don't need to have any kind of a preservative with it. Love your new shop, Elin. So good to see you. Thank you for tuning in live. Do I have a green light? We forgot a green light. So this is the exciting part. Soap makers, handcrafted artisans, we love getting new items. Just that, well, I don't know if we love getting new ingredients more, new items more, or just like fancy tools that make us feel just a little bit more professional. But I have gotten a ton of new things. For our particular salve, we're actually going to be using an infused olive oil. What we did was we infused some chamomile. We infused chamomile into olive oil, but now we need to strain this out. So the main two ingredients for any salve is going to be your beeswax, because that's what's going to give it the consistency as well as all of the wonderful things about beeswax, and then your oil. You can choose any oil that you want. You can use sweet almond oil, olive oil, jojoba oil, hemp seed oil. I'm actually making a hemp seed balm. Love your hair. Thank you. My hair has grown. It's been a year since I've had it sister locked, and it is the best decision I could have made for the lifestyle that I started. But thank you for that. We love it all. LOL. Yes, we love anything new that's going to make us feel a little bit more fancy. But this isn't the new. The new that got all of the questions and why we were streaming here on Amazon Live is everybody said, what is this called, and where did you get it from? The reason I absolutely love this, I've had this for years in my basement along a million other soap supplies that I was going to get to one day, and there's a tip in there for new soap makers. I was going to get to it one day, I just didn't know when, right? But what this is a confectionary funnel. And what it does is it allows you to pour your oils in here so that you get a very specific amount when it comes time to filling your containers. The reason I like this one in particular is there is a stand. So when I go to fill it with the oils, it does not move. But then when I go to fill each of my containers, there's just a little button that I click on here, and every part of this comes apart so that you can clean it and sanitize it between uses. But that is my number one. Well, next week there'll be a new number one. But first, let's get to our oils here while this is heating up. Because what we're going to do is a double boil for the salves. So in order to get all of this out, what we're going to do is put it through a strainer first, and then we don't just throw away what's left over with the plant material. What we then want to do is press it out, and we use this potato peeler to press it out. So not only are we getting the olive oil, but we're getting the infusion of the plant benefits in that olive oil along with the beeswax. Then we add some vitamin E, jojoba oil, and shea butter, which makes it give that really nice consistency and all of the great benefits on the skin. So with this particular, I call it a potato peeler, but it's a potato ricer. Potato ricer is what it is. So you want to make sure that you do dry it off. I don't dry it as often as I should, which gives it a rust feel to it. The nice thing about this is it does have different pieces. So depending on how large or how small your plant material is, you have this really large piece. And then you have a little bit smaller. And then the one that I use to try and get as much as I can out of the plants is the smallest one that comes with it. Now, I'm sure there are smaller ones. It's just that that's the set that I got with this particular one. And the way it works is you put your oil with the plant material inside, and then you press it down. And in theory, that's getting any of the excess out. Okay, so that's what we're going to be making. And if you have, good morning, Jamila Davidson. How are you? Paige, what you doing? You know how when kids get quiet, you got to do that little scream out, like, what's going on up there? Nothing. I'm just trying to dry it. Okay. So we have that. We'll set it off to that side. So the first thing we're going to do is get a pair of gloves because we are working with skincare. And I'm trying to get this water up to a boil. Now, here's what I'll tell you. Here is what I'll tell you about that. Sometimes it takes a really long time for the beeswax and the oil and the butters to melt together. We don't have all day. So for the purpose of the stream, if it seems to be taking forever, what we will do is switch it out. No, I don't want that. I need another bowl. We'll switch it out and melt it in the microwave. But for the time being, the goal is to get it all out in one fell swoop. Jamila, how you doing over there in YouTube land? I can't tell. So I hear it boiling, so hopefully that'll give us enough steam for what we need. Now, for this, again, you need whatever oil you're going to use, preferably an infused oil. It can be, again, olive oil, jojoba oil, almond oil, avocado oil. Everything, it can be castor oil is a little thick. But any oil that you want, and you want to infuse that. Typically, when I infuse it, I'll put it in a crock pot for about 3 hours on high, just to try and make it go a little bit faster. You can also sit it in the sun for about a week. Nobody has time for that, but that is something that you can do. So now what we're going to do is try and do a first strain to get all of the oil that has been infused out, but also capture any of the plant material at the top. Oh, it smells so good, guys. Oh my gosh. Come on out. Let me go grab one of them spatulas. Don't you do it. You got another blooper. Damn it, Gina. All right, so let's get that all out. I'm great. How are you? I used to watch you back in the day on Periscope. Glad you found me too. Make sure you connect on Facebook. That is probably going to be the best place to stay connected. So I'm going to have to do another pour, guys. And hopefully not too much of a strange pour. So for this, same deal. We're going to put that in. And watch how much it'll pump out. The joke is, be like the ancestors, don't do it like that. Ain't got no time for that. Okay, I will. All right. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this plant material from over here and put it in here. Because it seems like, wait, you got all the oil that you possibly could want out of there. There's no more to get. Lies and curly fries. Watch. And now when we press it out, watch how it'll come right out of the bottom. Now that would have been wasted. And you want to do that for all of your excess plant material. And you kind of just press, and it'll come out right at the bottom. Beautiful setup. This setup was truly something that I wanted for a long, long time. My business grew during the pandemic. I started producing virtual conferences, and I finally had the opportunity to move out of the dining room. My dining room started to take over the living room and the kitchen with all of the production material. Not even just the soap making stuff, but the stuff for producing the events. me pull this back here. And so I went and I looked at several like shed places. And this one, I have learned, one thing I have learned is I cannot tell the difference in space because it looked half the size when I saw it on the lot. But I had to remind myself that it's an open lot. And so it's, even though it looks much smaller, when it got here, I was blown away at how big it was. But it's 2 stories. So I have all of the soap making stuff down here. And then upstairs, I have supposed to be my office, but it's turning into Paige's play area. But that's where I do all of the virtual conference production stuff. So down here, I make all the products. This is also, darn it, this is also going to be where we have the live soap making workshops. And so there's a lot there. I caught a live. Good morning. How? Put your name in there so I don't say I love bright colors. I love your YouTube channel. I absolutely love your setup. Thank you guys. You know how you can kind of picture something and it's like, I know that's what I want, and you try and describe it to other people and they're like, yeah, I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know why. But if you say so, it can happen. Luckily, my family is extremely crafty with their hands. My brother did all of the electrical work, the drywall, the carpeting, and he also put the top on this countertop for me yesterday. Um, if you saw Opal, well, hello, Opal. If you saw the last stream I did where we were going back and forth on this countertop in particular, um, it was just a bad idea when I like it was good in theory, but in practice it was not such a great idea for making products. So we went back and forth between just putting a plastic cover on here, and then we also said, well, maybe we can do tile, maybe we can get some not sheetrock. What is that? Stainless steel and just put on the top, and all of that just became like a little too much to do. So I went back to Home Depot and I got some kitchen tile. And my brother put this on here 2 days ago now. And so it works out pretty well. I like it. And everything is everything. So what we're trying to do is do the last press of the excess. And you guys, not a lot coming out of there. Hold on, guys. We got to do it one more time, unfortunately, because I spilt a whole bunch of the plant material right in here, which is not what we want. So let's try it again. Let that go through. So yes, I am in love with the soap studio. I'll give you guys a complete 360 tour. We have 4 cameras in here. One of them is a 360 camera where you'll be able to kind of stream around. But we have one more corner to work on over there. And the organization. The organization was the biggest part because I would be in the middle of like broadcast, couldn't find a spatula, couldn't find a stick blender, couldn't find this, that, or the other. And so as I was looking at different pegboard designs and ways to have everything organized, it worked out really well. You see how I just turned around and got that spatula? That's an example. That's an example of it right there. So if you are just now joining, because I see our numbers have jumped again, I'm Zakia of Live Soap School and Natural Soap by Zakia. And the purpose of this broadcast was really to show you all some of the things that we use for making herbal salves and herbal blends. What we're doing now is we are pressing the herbal infused oil that we will be using to make a salve. The only difference between a salve and a balm is the thickness of it and how likely or how easily it will go into your skin. So we'll go through there. Press. Ugh. Now there are actual herb presses that would get a whole lot more than what I'm getting. I'm not getting that yet. We got to sell a little more salves. And now I'm just dumping out the part that was on the top. And I would say we are good to go with that. And then we do still have some leftover. I don't really do anything with it, but I'm sure there's additional ways that you could use that. Yes, organization is key. And we also have our herbal tea right here. So the measurements that I do is 2 parts of the beeswax to 1 part of the oil. Or you can do 3 parts of the beeswax to 2 parts oil. If you do 2 to 1, it's going to be a thicker balm-like consistency. If you do a 3 to 1, it's going to be more of a salve-like consistency. So it's really up to you, and you can play with those ratios depending on what it is that you're trying to get at home. So what we'll do is we'll grab our scale. Kitchen scale is highly recommended. Highly. That one is one that has been with me since the very first batch of soap that I have made. That one. Oh, there is a power outlet right here, so I don't have to have cords like going everywhere. So we're going to get yet another that I use. I'm going to grab a mason jar so that we can put our ingredients in. And this is just a really small mason jar. You don't, a lot of people think you have to get all this big stuff to do what it is that you don't need all of that. And so we're going to do, let's measure it out here. What I want you cut on. I got power. Where's our backup? We'll grab another one. When one fails, which is why you might need 2. When one doesn't want to work, grab another one. What are we figuring out here? Guys, Houston, we might have a problem. There we go. I'm like, why isn't the scale coming on? Before I do that, let's finish with the herbal tea. So remember, we put the hibiscus in there. So when I take this out, you'll be able to see that very pretty color that our tea has turned. It's like a reddish color. That's all I got. I don't know what other way to describe it. It's more of a reddish color. And then you just sip that. Could have did a little less lemon though. It's a little tart. Hit me right there. All right, so we'll grab this, tear that out. And then we'll grab the beeswax. Now, beeswax typically comes in these really big bags. I put them in these containers here so that it's easier to kind of maneuver and know how much I have. Don't spill it all over the place like I'm doing. So if you're wondering, the 2 cups is about 138 grams of the olive oil, of the beeswax. And then to that, we still have a little bit of the herbal material, but I'm not too worried about that in the formula. So we want to half that. So let me grab a calculator here. Let's see. So if we do 1 38. Divide that by 2. 69. 69 grams is what we are after. Now, if you are concerned with it, get yourself a smaller sieve to pour your oils through. Now, that's about 69. That's going to be a really thick balm. So I'm going to take it up to 100. And when I say thick, I mean difficult to get out of the container. Nothing wrong with that. I just kind of wanted a little more spreadable. Spreadable, she says. Okay. Now, if you're going to add vitamin E oil, if you're going to add jojoba, any other oil, you can do that here as well, but you just don't want to have too much going on with it. Then we put our little lid on, and we're going to set it in the double boiler, right? Just like that. So, low and slow wins the race. However, when we're live, we don't have that kind of time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this in the microwave just so you all can kind of see the entire process. And then, but when you are at home, there's really nothing that you have to rush about it. It's really kind of therapeutic to kind of see like how is it all coming along. We're going to add some kaolin clay to it to help to dry anything out. But you can absolutely sit it on the double boiler, let it slowly melt down, and you'll be pretty pleased with it. The only other thing is make sure that you have a spatula so that you can scrape it out when it's done, and then you want to have a container that you can put it in for afterwards. So I'm going to take it out of there, but you at home, if you have a double boiler, definitely let it slowly melt down in that double boiler before you move on. I do have these little teeny tiny containers here. And because they came directly from the manufacturer, I don't have to worry about sanitizing these in particular. But what you do is while you are waiting for all of that to melt, you get your containers ready. And I'm making a mess over here. So I'm going to wipe her down, wipe her down, wipe her down. And you can add essential oils to this. I wouldn't necessarily add a fragrance oil to a salve. And the reason for that is you're trying to keep it as natural as possible. And when you start introducing fragrance oils, it's not as natural anymore. So we have this container. You go with that one. And I'm going to take it off of here while I still can grab the top. And I'm going to put it in the microwave. I'll be right back. Oh, the microwave is behind the camera. I'm going to give it about 3 minutes. See what that does. I'm going to turn this off. There we go. And I'm going to keep getting these containers ready. Now these are little teeny 1 ounce containers, great for a lip balm. If you wanted something more like for someone's hands, you would use like more of a 2 ounce container. Very easy to travel with. I used to have one right in the front that I was messing with. So this was one of the salves that I made. This was like the last of it. So what you do with it, and I'll kind of scrape it out. So this is thicker than a lotion. I don't know if you can see that. You see that? It's more of a, I don't know how to describe that. The viscosity of it is a little bit thicker than a lotion, but it doesn't stay on the top of your skin. It goes right down into that first layer. So any of the herbs that you've put in there, the essential oils that you've put in there is really, really good. Conversely, a lotion, let's grab this one. So a lotion just kind of slides right on there like that. And then you can kind of rub it in. and it has a whole lot more spreadability than the salve does. So while we are waiting for that to melt, we now have the containers right here on the table ready to go. We also have, well, that's not enough containers. I just want to make sure you're able to see it so that it explains what you saw on the Instagram story in the last live stream when we were pouring them. I'm looking at it. It's looking at me. It's not necessarily melted, so we're letting that melt down. Any questions while I do that? It looks like we have 69. Hello. 69 was our number that we needed for the, I think that's a combination of great omens there. So while we wait for that, I'm going to sip our herbal tea. It has that lemongrass. But just take a look at what some of the properties of the herbs are that you're interested in. We used lemongrass, rosehip, hibiscus, grapefruit peel, lemon peel. I feel like I'm missing one. Grapefruit peel, rosehip, lemongrass. Yeah. So choose the ones that you want based on what it is that you like about it. Make sure that there's no contraindications with any medicine that you're taking or any health conditions that you have, and then go from there. Let's see how this is melting over here. It's all melted. Now, don't be like me. One time I grabbed a very hot container out of the microwave. I'll stay here. They're hot. Here you go. So you'll have, and this is nothing but your infused herbal olive oil and beeswax. What you add to it is what makes it uniquely yours. So you can do activated charcoal. You can do any of the clays. You can do kaolin clay, rose clay, green clay, French green clay. Or you could change what your base oil is. You can also add butters to it to make it uniquely yours. And then also the essential oils. You want to avoid adding like any tinctures that you've made or anything that, or a hydrosol, anything that has water, because then you will need to introduce a preservative in here. And the point of this is really to try and keep it as natural as possible. So if you add a water-based product, then you have to figure out which preservative you're going to use. You have to wait until the temperature comes down so that it's not a challenge with your preservative. So with this, you typically would allow it to cool, but again, because this is our live stream, we don't have that much time. I'm just going to do a few of them just so you can see how it all kind of goes about. This is not the recipe for our salves, but it is a recipe that you can try at home to see how you like making salves, or if it's something that you want to make. So what we'll do is I'll take this. I'm going to pour just a little bit inside, like so. And then what we do is we just take our little funnel here, and then just like that, it'll fill them. And you can go right to the line without having the drip in between, right across. And it smells good. Like, this doesn't need any essential oil added to it at all. And then you just allow them to cool. Don't put the lid on them until they are 100% cooled, because otherwise you'll have condensation. And then that means it's going to be drawing water on the top, and then you might have a preservative issue. So that is where we are in terms of making your own herbal salves at home. It's really, 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 really simple. Especially when it comes to just figuring out what it is that you like. My number one recommendation is to research some of the herbs that you are interested in. Get yourself some beeswax, and don't get the OMG. Haven't seen you live in a long, I know it's been such a long time. It's been such a long time. No drip in between. I used to have drip, 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 drip all the way across. Good to see you, Jathanet. I hope I'm saying that right. Um, the one thing about this that I really like is the ability to take off all of the parts to clean it. From this here, there's also different sizes. So depending on how much you need to fill, you can use the larger one or the smaller one, but it comes with 3 different dispensers. But this comes off, this comes off, this, and all of the smaller parts inside so that you can clean it and make sure that it's ready for the next time when you're going to use it. Yes, I got it right. Yay, yay, yay. But in terms of making sure that you allow it to cool completely, but getting started making your own salves is really not that hard. And the same thing for your own balms at home. The only difference is, oh, and I also should have shown you the drop test. Let me grab let's grab this. One way people say, well, I don't know if it's going to be too thick or too thin. Now, it's pretty hard to figure it out after it has gotten in there. But what you can do is you can drop just a little bit of your mixture. What happened? Oh, no. It's all gone. I poured just enough, guys. You can pour just a little bit before you put it in on a piece of plastic. That's going to allow it to cool pretty quickly. And once it cools, you'll be able to test what that consistency will be before you fill them all up in your containers. So getting started, you want to just get yourself a base oil that you either like or want to try out. Start with one herb. Typically, we will blend 2 or 3 herbal infusions with the beeswax, with a butter, with jojoba oil and vitamin E oil because we want all of those great things inside of the solve. I just love your new studio. I'm going to do a complete broadcast where it's only about the studio. Only about the studio because there's so many really unique pieces about it that's pretty exciting. Um, and we'll be able to have people come in and make products with me, which is really cool. I'm looking forward to that part. But pick 1 or 2 herbs. Don't go out and get 50 herbs and say, I'm going to make a salve with them. That's how I messed up when I first started making soap. I brought every oil, every butter that was on the market, and then stuff went bad. You want to make sure you're looking for a reliable source for your herbs. Like how fresh are those herbs because they do start to lose their essence over time. And you want to make sure that it's not like a whole bunch of chemicals that are being sprayed on the herbs either because you want them for all of their great properties, not the excess chemicals. So I talked about that drop test. And so as you can see, this has gotten harder. And so what you want to do is you want to kind of take it between your fingers and see how easy or how difficult it is to break up in there. If it's too hard, you want to add more oil. If it's too soft, you want to add more beeswax. This, I would say, I would add more oil. It's too hard for my liking. I don't like the consistency of this one. But that's how you can do it before you start to fill your containers. So get yourself some oil, get yourself some beeswax, get yourself 1 or 2 herbs. Try to go ahead and infuse them and then make your own salve or balm at home. And consider making your own herbal tea. That's a way that you can start to learn about the herbs. Maybe do just a lemongrass tea. Don't mix it with any other herbs. How do you like the taste of it? How does it make you feel? Go from your experience, not what everybody else says about that particular thing. We were made in nature, and so using what Mother Nature has given us in terms of what's right outside. That can be the dandelions in the spring, the mint that you have, the elderberries, any of those, and then try to make your own with those. So hopefully we will get back into the swing of things. I'll have a little bit more of a routine with everything. pretty soon, but this is just trying to get back into the routine of live streaming again. I'm so grateful that all of you are here, and thank you for tuning in. Jathanet, I will not stay away so long anymore. I am back for sure, and now it is noon time, so hopefully you all have enjoyed the stream, and I'll see you all on the next broadcast. Have a wonderful day, and I'm going to sip this tea.